Hello and welcome back to the Shoot the J NBA channel. My name is Jeremiah, and we are very much still deep into the dreaded offseason of NBA basketball. But that is not going to stop us from diving in on the free agency moves this season. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, continue to show some love. Let's continue. Now, since my last video, some very important breaking news happened. Nothing super important, just that LeBron signed to the Philadelphia 76ers about 10 motherfucking days ago. He kept hinting at that bitch saying, trust the process, know the process, follow the process, become the process. And he has now created an insane roster in Philadelphia. You got Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, Jaylen Brown, LeBron James III. You got Joel Embiid and a stacked bench to go with it, all equipped with everybody filling in all the spots. They are a contender in this league. They're poised to win the East, if not a top 3 contender to win the East, no matter what. It seems like they're putting all their chips together in the basket to make Philly a fantastic team and a force to be reckoned with in the East. All of this paired with a nice bench of Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Dean Wade, and Anthony Simons. This team has just about everything that they need to bring it in the East. Not only that, with the additions of Jaylen Brown had finished top 6 in MVP voting this year. He averaged a career high 29 points per game. I spoke about this in my previous video about the East, I know, but I still need to speak about it again because it's kind of insane because Jaylen Brown is a top 5 player in this league and he was still traded. He averaged 29 points per game, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. He is sure to have a chip on his shoulder after being traded on just some random evening, as well as him being a very important premier star on a contending team like the Philadelphia 76ers. This is his chance to bring a championship to a okay team. He's done it with the Celtics, but they're already a great franchise. He can do it again in Philly and be one of the GOATs. Paul George, I also want to get back to. Poor Paul George on the Celtics. I'm sorry for hating on you so much, but Paul George, while is a beast on 2K, he had a semi-productive season in the 37 games that he played last season. In the complicated suspension situation that he had, we're not going to talk about that, but that was the whole situation. He is now 36 years old, heading to Boston with 2 years left on his contract. Everybody knows for good reason that Boston did this so that way they could save some money on their books. They avoid the second apron and that nasty salary tax. It was impossible for them to keep the Jays together, or at least that's what the GM will say. Philly does come out on top in this trade, and with a healthy roster, they're expected to dominate in the East as long as Embiid can be a factor for this team and stay healthy for this team. LeBron only adds to the sugar on top that this team already had with Jaylen Brown. In my last video, I was already raving about the 76ers. We're going to continue to rave about the 76ers. This will be a very fun team to watch, and they're going to have the most games to watch. I think they have like 36 nationally televised games or some shit like that. Like, we're watching all of them hoes. We're going to the bar and we're watching every single LeBron game this year. It's going to be fantastic. Now back to the Los Angeles Lakers. LA finally moves on from 7 years of LeBron James, which resulted in a NBA championship during the COVID bubble season. They clear the house with every last dollar left in their budget after moving on from LeBron James, after moving on from Rui Hachimura, after moving on from Marcus Smart, after moving on from Luke Kennard, Jackson Hayes, DeAndre Ayton. Screw that bum, DeAndre Ayton. This means they must replace those roster spots and fill the salary somehow, some way. Who knows what are they doing? What are they cooking? But they are cooking. Let them cook. Let them cook. This is not what I foresaw them doing. I really expected this whole roster to kind of fall apart after losing LeBron, but it seems like they spent their money where they wanted to and spent it quite literally immediately in signing Walker Kessler from the Utah Jazz. It was a sign and trade, so they managed to sign and trade him and give him 4 years, $130 million, which is a lot of money off their books. They also traded away about 2 first-round picks and 2 first-round pick swaps to the Jazz. So the Jazz just rake in all the picks from that, totally cash out from that from the Lakers. More power to Danny Ainge and what they're doing in Utah. I love that they've just been holding on to these picks forever. What are we going to do with them? Who knows? But maybe they're hoping to have an OKC-like resurgence in the 2030s or some shit like that. Back to LA, I believe Walker Kessler's a great addition for this team. It's the best big man they've had in a long time, probably since AD when he was healthy, which is a while ago. I like the Walker Kessler signing for this team. They also continue their moves by signing Quentin Grimes from Philly, who averaged 14 points per game. Great bench piece for them. They signed Kevon Looney, Colin Sexton. They get some production for their bench, which has been non-existent in all of the LeBron years because they don't have any money to spend. Lakers lastly spend all of their last little dimes and coins and dollars left on Austin Reeves and signing him to a massive deal, which he was deserved. He was balling out for a good 2 years on a great contract, at least on paper. It looked great on paper, but he is now on a 4-year, $185 million deal, completing the beloved white boy alliance in LA with the roster of Luka Doncic, Austin Reeves, Kessler Walker, and Jake LaRavia. We can have an all-white starting lineup in 2026. Let's go, LA. In a weaker West year, I believe that if Luka, this is all reliant on Luka because he is the engine for this team, and I'm giving him that power because he is really that kind of guy. If he can play healthy and stay fit, they can be a top seed in the West. They can take a top 4 seed, maybe a top 5 seed in the West, but only time will tell. I do believe they at least keep a top 6. They're not making it to the play-in. They still have enough to do without LeBron. They filled up their roster well. I like where this team's going, but it's all on Luka, and we will be watching. Now moving on to the Minnesota Timberwolves, and yes, I know this is not a Minnesota jersey. I just don't have a Minnesota jersey. We'll get there eventually. It's most likely going to be the Lamelo one because that shit goes super hard. The Minnesota Timberwolves trade for LaMelo Ball by sending away Naz Reid and picks for the Ball brother to end up in Minnesota. I spoke about this in my previous video talking about Charlotte and then moving on from him. But this is the best player we have ever seen play with Anthony Edwards since Karl-Anthony Towns' departure. And it might even be debatable, is he even better than that since he's younger, since he may have a better ceiling? Who knows? I mean, granted, my Cat is the zesty goat. He does have a championship, so he's probably better. But still, I'm going to make that charge statement. I think LaMelo is a great player to be next door to Anthony Edwards. LaMelo has a down year by his standards in Charlotte, averaging about 20 points per game. So in doing so, he is freed of the poverty franchise in Charlotte, and they land him on a better team, the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves also do send 1 pick and 3 pick swaps in order to trade to get him. So they did kind of clear house, at least draft asset wise, in order to bring him to this team. But they needed to do something to keep Anthony Edwards on this team. They had a great year last year, a couple health issues last year. Dante DiVincenzo goes down, but I think they bring it back by bringing LaMelo onto this team. The Wolves look very exciting with the backcourt of Anthony Edwards and LaMelo. Rudy Gobert will continue to be a defensive anchor for this team. And we still got Jaden McDaniels. They got KD. We got Jaden McDaniels. If you know, you know. And Ayo Dosunmu also had a fantastic year in his first year with the Wolves. This team will be great in a weaker West year. I expect them to take a top 6 seed, probably the 6th seed, right on the cusp of it, not being the plan. But they'll be a great team. They'll be a fun team to watch. I'm very excited for it. Moving on to the Portland Trailblazers, and yes, I know I described a red jersey. I don't have a Portland jersey. We got to get that John Moran jersey. That shit gonna go stupid. The Blazers win big by swinging on John Morant from the Memphis Grizzlies and snagging him for a very low price, only sending away Jeremy Grant to Memphis, which they already wanted to move on from his salary anyways. So they kind of take a low risk, high reward chance on John Morant here, restarting his career and starting again with the Blazers here. I think it's a great move. It's a great fit. Only time will tell to see if it works with Damian Lillard, because this next season, Damian Lillard is expected to return. So the roster of Damian Lillard, John Morant, Danny Advia, Scoot Henderson, I believe they got Donovan Clingan in that photo, Drew Holiday off the bench. Like, this team is looking great in a weaker West this year. Rip City may be back, may officially be back after a torturous couple of years without Damian Lillard after COVID. This team did make the 8th seed in this previous season in a deeper West. So, and that was without these key additions that they have on their team, and Damian Lillard and pretty much their whole backcourt will be way better this year. I expect them to hold. Man, tough. I say weaker West, but it's still going to be tough. They'll probably get the 6th seed, maybe the 7th seed. I feel like they could probably inch in past the plan, but who knows, because every team is just great in this league right now. But I expect good things from the Blazers. I don't expect them to be a bad team. I expect them to be in the playoffs somehow, some way. I'm liking what they're doing with Ja Morantavius. Talk about the other poverty franchise, the Los Angeles Clippers. Now, the Clippers actually look to start their rebuild now after the disastrous era of Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, and eventually players like James Harden and Russell Westbrook that came and went through while this team never made one finals appearance during that period. This team finally decides to trade Kawhi Leonard back to the Toronto Raptors for Brandon Ingram, Grady Dick, and multiple picks. They couple this move with a Rui Hachimura free agency snag, and they immediately become a younger and more complete roster. They finally move on from the Unction roster, paired with Darius Garland and Benedict Matherin's probably on the bench. I don't know why he's not on this photo right now. Probably because Keaton Wagler's going to take that starting spot, young boy. We are ready to see what the number 5 pick, Keaton Wagler, brings to the table for this team. They now have some kind of future and some kind of path after moving on from that old-ass team. Wait a minute. Didn't they re-sign Chris Paul this past year? And then he retired? Like that was such a sad period in time in Clippers history. I think everybody wants to forget that even happened. But yes, that happened. Do we think they make the playoffs? Hell no. Will they be a team in the league? Yes. Will they be a team to watch? Maybe. But they won't win anything at all. That being said, at least they have a direction to move into. I included them in this video because they did move on from Kawhi Leonard and they're actually trying to do something different. Respect to them, but good luck. Now we finally have the jersey for the team. Let's go, baby. The Phoenix Suns are the next topic right now. And I will say the Phoenix Suns have still been in purgatory ever since the Chris Paul departure many years ago. They look to bolster Devin Booker's team by adding players like Miles Bridges from the Hornets and Luke Kennard from the Lakers to add to this bench. I still like this roster on paper, but in a game and when you really watch them in the regular season, it seems like the offense is just completely lacking. When you have to rely on players like Jalen Green and Colin Gillespie to make shots for you late in the game, it's kind of a problem. It's most definitely a problem. If this team can maybe figure out a coaching style where they can play through Booker and get some open shots to Booker, open shots to Bridges, open shots to Dylan Brooks, they can maybe make some noise in the West. They can make it through the play-in and make it to a top 60. Maybe, if that. But this team is severely lacking compared to most other teams in the West this year. While Devin Booker is still on this team, I believe the time is waning. I expect them to fight for a play-in spot this season and a potential that Devin Booker moves on in maybe about a year or so. I mean, everybody's seen it every time before with every other disgruntled star. Nobody ever stays with the team forever. If you kind of fumble for a couple years, you're most likely going to move on. But this team really doesn't have a lot going for them after they've kind of traded everybody and like most of their I'm not sure what they want to do right now, but Miles Bridges is cool. Miles Bridges is cool. Well, I can't believe we changed the jersey again just so I can talk about this team for quite literally 30 whole seconds, but I will do so. So the San Antonio Spurs, after making their surprising finals run this year, they decided to sign Tobias Harris in free agency, which I did not see coming, which brings a veteran presence, some size, and some rebound for this small-ass, little-ass team that doesn't rebound for shit. So I'm very happy with the Tobias Harris signing. I think it fits well without sacrificing too much salary on our roster. Right now, we go ahead and re-sign everybody and bring them back, bring the entire core from the finals so we can run it back for another year. And somehow, some way, De'Aaron Fox is still on this franchise. I don't know how. We're going to hope for the best. We're going to hope for the best for our boy because if he's still on our team, that's our boy. But if you fuck up one more time, Oh, it's hate watch season. It's hate watch season all year, brother. It's straight hate watch until you gone, G. But if you can do well, if you can prove us wrong, I would love to see you prove us wrong. The Spurs need to win it all this year. The Spurs need to win it all this year. I'll say it once, I'll say it again. Moving on to the Dallas Mavericks. We weren't expected for them to make any news this offseason until they randomly snagged the number one pick, Zachary Risachet from the Atlanta Hawks, after he was not at all beating the allegations of being a bust in this league. They also boost their bench with players like Santi Aldama from the Memphis Grizzlies and Marcus Sasser from Philly. This team is rounding together completely now that Cooper Flag is no longer playing point guard for some weird reason. I don't know. Jason Kidd really thought that Bro could play point guard, and then he got fired and lost his job, and then they figured that out. But it seems like the Mavs are poised to have a much better season than last year, bouncing back from their rookies showing out from Cooper Flag having a Rookie of the Year season. We are also expected Kyrie Irving to be back this season. I expect this team to jockey for a play-in spot, although they were horrible last year. And I would want to expect more just being a fan of Kyrie and being a fan of watching this team play. They can probably make a 10th seed, maybe a 9th seed. I think there's way too many other teams that are good in the West. I want to have respect to the other 8 to 9 teams in the West. They are going to be better and more complete and have more chemistry. But the Mavs can make some noise. The Mavs can make a little motion. Not a lot of motion, but a little bit of motion this year. They have some sort of a direction, having some young players like Reese Shea and like Cooper Flag. We'll have to see how many more years of buns do they have to be before they're actually good. And finally, in the West, we make it down to Houston, touchdown in H-Town to check out the Rockets. We managed to snag Marcus Smart. Bienvenido a la Marcus Smart from the Lakers free agency. This is the Dylan Brooks replacement theory, in my opinion. You get a defensive, tough player to strengthen the roster and to be a motor for this team and to strengthen the young guys and the people that aren't acting right. You know, you get on the ad. You get on the ad. That's why we need Marcus Smart on this team. I'm loving this for our roster. I'm loving the boost to our perimeter defense it'll give us and some IQ for this stupid-ass, dumbass team sometimes. Is exactly what we need for this roster. Aside from what he brings on the court, I love everything Marcus Smart does. Great addition to the team as a Rockets fan. We also managed to snag Bogdan Bogdanovic, that is a man in the bench from the Clippers on my other photo there. He's an efficient shooter who's very much needed when we have the bad lineups out there like a Men Thompson who can't even hit the broadside of a barn even if he tried. We need him out there to space out the floor for us at many different times during this year. So I love that addition. I believe he's about 41% from three and like 47% from the field. Very efficient shooter. He can be a catch and shoot, Klay Thompson-esque kind of pick up off the floor kind of player. We also, much more importantly, expect the return of Fred VanVleet. So we have an actual point guard this year. Congratulations, Houston. We have real point guard basketball in Houston. Man, Fred VanVleet will be able to dish out the boards. He averaged about 7 assists last year and 8 assists the previous year. He has been a floor general for this team, and he has an actual IQ, which will help for all these dumbass players like Tari Eason and Jabari Smith Jr. We also expect the return of Steven Adams, who averages the most offensive rebounds in the league and contributes to us having the most rebounds in the league as a team. We need to crash the boards and we need to take over. And also his screens must be noted. His screens are no fucking joke. It makes a difference in this league when you have Steven Adams on the floor, this absolute soldier. If he can stay healthy this year for us, we hope for the best. We also expect Reed Shepherd to have his progression in his third year. He had a wonderful year, too, in the absence of Fred VanVleet. Had a lot of time to flourish and had a lot of minutes to take on the floor. Hopefully, he can regress to his role off the bench and still give us some serious numbers and be a great shooter for this team. I believe he averaged about 41, maybe 39% from the three-point line last year. He had a surprisingly good year this year, even though I was almost hate watching. I love me some Reed Shepherd when I watch at Toyota Center. Hopefully, Jabari Smith Jr. and Tari Eason improve. Will Men Thompson ever develop a jump shot, or will he forever be a Ben Simmons kind of player, but with the drive to actually play and be a good player, which I'll still take him. And Thompson still had a great year. I love many moments watching him this year, but God damn, man. You cannot shoot a ball past like 10 feet. There's nowhere that ball, past 10 feet, that ball is not going in. If you're putting it up, it is not going in the basket. That being said, I expect this team to hold a top 6 seed in the West just like they did last year as a 5th seed with a lackluster roster. I think they can be the 4th seed this year, maybe the 3rd, but I'm not going to get way too ahead of myself as a Houston Rockets fan. I think they can make the 4th seed this year, but definitely hold on to a playoff spot in the West. If we can get the chemistry going on with a full healthy roster, we can really make some noise in a weaker West. I do not expect us to be better than the Thunder. I do not expect us to be better than the Spurs. That's just being realistic. But I think we can be the 3rd best team in the West, at least in the regular season. When the playoffs come, that's a different story. But I have high hopes for Houston. For once, man, for once, we can actually have a great year, a great roster this year. I'm ready to go to 10 games this season. I went to about 5 last season. I'm going to double that, flip that and double it. We're going to go to 10 games this season. It's going to be a lot of fun this year. I'm loving everything that Houston is doing right now. Go Rockets. That being said, guys, thank you so much for watching NBA Family. If you made it to this part of the video, you are a real one. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and follow for more. I am out. Peace.